Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Livetalk, The Connection, a platform where we discuss issues affecting young people. We are coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington this Tuesday, January the 31st, 2023. I am Tungamili Nkomo. Tonight, we are continuing the conversation around drugs and substance abuse among youths in Zimbabwe, including school children, picking up from where we left last week. But first, an update on the three-day state visit by Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, who arrived in Harare yesterday for meetings with his counterpart, Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa. The two held a news conference in Harare today after signing several bilateral agreements and memorandums ranging from investment promotion to agriculture. Belarus says it has already supplied Zimbabwe with 180 tractors and 76 combined harvesters to ensure food security. According to the state-owned Belarusian Telegraph News Agency, Zimbabwe will receive more than 3,500 tractors between this year 2023 and 2024. Lijona njani Zulu kandaba siyahlangana kuhlelo lwe-Live Talk, The Connection. Lamhlanje siqhubeka ngodaba lokusetshenziswa kwezidakamizwa ngabasakhulayo. Kodwa singakayi lapho sizaphatha kancane udaba lohambo lukamongameli wele Belarus, umnumzana Alexander Lukashenko, yena ofike elizweni izolo njalo oqhube umhlangano lo mongameli Emmerson Mnangagwa namuhla. Ababili laba basayinelane izivumelwano ezichiyeneyo zokudlelana kunhlangothi zempilo ezichiyeneyo ezigoqela ezokulima kanye lezokuthuthukisa umnotho. Kwaziwa ivatereri ve Studio 7 kusangana kumo chirongwa che The Connection, chirongwa cheve chidiki. Nasi tiri kuenderera mberi sezvatakaita svondora pfura nenyaya yekushandiswa kwezvinodhaka nevechidiki vanosanganisira vana vechikoro. Asi tisati tapinda munyaya iyoyo tichakupai nyaya yekushanya kwemtungamiri wenyika yeBelarus vaAlexander Lukashenko avo vasainirana zvibvumirwano nemutungamiri weZimbabwe vaEmmerson Mnangagwa nhasi. Zvibvumirwano zvakasiyana-siyana zvekukurudzira kumushandira pamwe pakati peZimbabwe neBelarus. President Mnangagwa announced the two countries have agreed to open embassies in each other's capital as they seek to deepen bilateral ties.
My dear brother, President Alexander Lukashenko, may I take this opportunity to warmly inform the Zimbabwe nation that we are extremely happy and feel honored that we accepted paying a visit to Zimbabwe. In fact, my dear brother would have come last year, but as a result of COVID-19 pandemic constraints, we had to postpone the visit twice. This year, we felt the pandemic had somewhat receded, and my dear brother was able to pay a reciprocal visit to Zimbabwe. I'm happy that this demonstrates the warm relations which exist between Harare and Minsk. And this visit strengthens deepens and consolidates our bilateral relations. And as a result of this, we have agreed to open embassies.
On his part, Mr. Lukashenko, who stands accused of gross human rights violations by the West, like Mr. Mnangagwa, criticized the U.S. sanctions targeting ZANU-PF officials and himself, as well as Zimbabwean entities, saying Zimbabwe was being punished for taking control of its land and natural resources.
Договоренности, а также обменялись мнениями по актуальным вопросам международной повестки дня и непростой ситуации, которая складывается в мире.
Today, President Mnangagwa and I held substantive talks on the whole range of bilateral relations, which started 4 years ago in Minsk. This is my first visit to Zimbabwe and my first meeting with your president on the land of Zimbabwe. That's why we assess the implementation of the agreements that we have already reached and exchange views on topical issues of the international agenda and the current challenges of the world.
Мы подробно обсудили перспективные направления сотрудничества между нашими странами, которое значительно активизировалось за последние годы, несмотря на то, что отдельные государства пытаются нас подвести под санкции, задушить этими санкциями, но они нас только подстегивают более глубокому увершению сотрудничества.
We discussed in detail the promising areas of bilateral cooperation, which has significantly intensified over the recent years, despite of the sanctions imposed on our countries from the Western countries. Their intention to strangle us, however, those sanctions only help us to intensify bilateral cooperation.
That was Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko at a joint press conference with President Mnangagwa in Harare today. He wraps up his 3-day visit tomorrow. Let's take a short break. Don't go away.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Now to our main topic, drugs and substance abuse among youngsters. With the Dominican Convent School in Harare last week expelling 8 female students for using drugs, teachers say this is but a microcosm of the bigger problem obtaining in schools. Like many entities who are pushing back against this scourge, the Opposition Citizens Coalition for Change, or CCC, is now getting involved, launching a campaign online featuring 10 reasons to say no to drugs. And those include the fact that drugs kill, drugs are addictive, and they can negatively affect the students' academic performance, the CCC says. Party leader Nelson Chamisa is also pushing the campaign, tweeting, "We must act. Drugs are decimating our young people. We are losing a whole nation and generation under our watch. Our communities and schools have become drug havens. Where is government in all this? Where is law enforcement? Everyone must be involved in fighting this scourge," Mr. Chamisa said. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has also spoken strongly against drug abuse and those peddling illegal substances. launching the anti-drug and substance campaign last year, Mr. Mnangagwa called for a concerted effort, concluding over and above cleaning our environment, the time to detoxify and clean the minds of the young people from drugs and other social ills is now. And now to help us discuss this very important topic, we are back with our panel, the one that we had last week. That's Mpumelelo Moyo, Triple C Councillor for Bulawayo Mganwini, and Tanya Marumga, Director of the organization Zimbabwe People Who Use Drugs. Good evening both, and thank you so very much for joining us. Let me start with Tanya. We see politicians, Tanya, are getting involved in this matter. The Triple C is unrolling a campaign. Its leader, Nelson Chamisa, is also in the forefront. How important is it for politicians to join the fight against drug abuse?
Good evening, Tulameli. Thank you for having me on your show. It's actually very important that we have the politicians also join in this fight for drugs and substance awareness. Currently, in Zimbabwe, we've got the Presidential Interministerial Task Force on Drugs and Substance Abuse. So, Tina, these are the meetings. We sit with them in meetings. There's 5 pillars, which I'll explain briefly. There's a demand supply reduction pillar. This is where we find law enforcement. And then we've got what you call demand reduction. These are the ones who give awareness to the communities, like what Triple C wants to do and what's been going on with other campaigns. Then the harm reduction, which is the pillar which Zimbabwe falls under. And then we've got rehabilitation pillar, and we've got the community reintegration pillar. So these are the 5 pillars of the Interministerial Task Force that the President put up last year. It's been functional for a year, not functional to its fullest capacity in other pillars, but it's a structure that's actually been here in Zimbabwe. And it's not limited to just having the President do it. Some churches are also doing it, but the interministerial is the governing body. So activities like drug awareness campaigns, they are the people that you're supposed to go through. Yeah. So I just thought I should explain that.
Yes, and that's a very important issue you are raising there, Tanya, because the ministerial task force okhuluma ngayo ikhokhelwa ngumphathi ntambo Minister Paul Mavima. Simdingile singakabuyi ngapha kuhlelo singakaye emoyeni ukuthi sikhulume la sizwe ukuthi how far sebehambe unganani njengohulumende kumzabalazo okulwisana lesidakamizwa kodwa sehlulekile ukuxhumana laye. Qhubeka kubambile khonapho Tanya, ndi uye kwa Muri Councillor Mpumelelo Moyo. We know ukuthi imimi sa councillor mune zvirongwa zvakawanda kuemganwini ikoko zvekurwisana nedambudziko rekushandiswa kwezvinodhaka zvikuru sei nevechidiki. Takaona convent last week ichidzinga vana vechikoro hanzi vabatwa vachiita zvinodhaka zvisiri pamutemo. Imimi kwa muri wongo muri politician, but zvakakosha sei kuti mutungamiri wenyu vaNelson Chamisa vaonekwe vachipindirawo munyaya iyi?
Oh, thank you very much and good evening, listeners. Okay, this is a drug and abuse is now a very topical issue that cannot be swept under carpet, that cannot be ignored at this juncture. Our champion in chief, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, is now involved as an influential figure, as a person with a huge following is now telling the youth to abstain from drugs and mentioning the dangers of drugs. Because as a society, if the youth are damaged or if we neglect teaching the youth, it means that we have got a society that is lacking as we go forward as a country. It is of very paramount importance that the youth are told that and warned concerning the dangers of abusing these drugs. They may not realize it now, but as they grow old, they see that they've lost their future, because some of them now, like you have mentioned earlier on, that they were caught at school and they were dismissed from schooling. So it means that their future is permanently damaged. Someone who's not educated, it means that they no longer have got that brighter future. At a later stage, they realize that they wasted time through these drugs and substance abuse. And it's very imperative to let them know at this juncture that you are actually wasting your future and you are damaging your bodies. So it is a very bold move that the president have taken, in spite of maybe losing some of the voters who may not want to listen to this subject or this topic. But it is very necessary to educate people and tell them the realities and the dangers that they face when they continue abusing these drugs and substance abuse.
Ukuthi ukhona umuntu okwanile engqondweni Councillor Moyo ongazonda to the extent yokuthekela ukuvotela uchamisa kumbe certain politician ngoba uthe akwekela ukusetshenziswa izidakamizwa.
Hayi, angiboni kunjalo, kodwa bese ngikhulumela ama-extremes ngoba khathesi elizweni utshintsho abantu balufuna njalo bazavota ngobuningi bevotela utshintsho. Bengikhulumela ukuthi ungabona umthungameli esekhuluma into enjalo uyabe sezimisela ukuthi noba setholi i-negative backlash maybe kuma-organization amanye asupporta ukusetshenziswa kwezidakamizwa, kodwa usekhuluma iqiniso elisiza umphakathi, elisiza i-future yelizwe.
Limqotho lelo councillor siyabonga aqhubeka ubambile. Ndizoke kwa muri muzware Tania Marumga ndiye director wesangano iri vanhu vanoshandisa zvinodhaka, rinobatsira sangano iri vanhu vanoshandisa zvinodhaka kuti vasiyane netsika iyoyo. Sangano rinonzi Zimbabwe People Who Use Drugs. Tichitaura panapa chipiri chapfuura muzvare Marumga kwakanga kusati kwaita nhau yekudominican convent yekudzingwa kwevana 8 vanasikana 8 vanonzi vakabatwa vachishandisa zvinodhaka. Vakazodzingwa I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday ipapo. Makaiwonawo sei nyaya iyi?
You know, I wish ukuthi bevangakataura ma-teachers right, bevakaitika something chekuti like an intervention nevanhu ve-demand reduction right, kuitira kuti kana vachikwanisa daikwanisa kutaura nevana ava kuchikoro nevabereki vacho nematicha vasati vadzinga vana ava, because right now papilla demand reduction ndo inobata kuzvikoro, because ndo inoita zvekuidentifya like early signs of problematic drug use among teenagers nema-adolescents. So there's a thing yokuti they could have done a program, you know, for those at risk or special groups, yokuti that those 8 girls or their friends votorwa voendeswa kune anonzi ma-support group meetings, then they get counseling first of all to understand kuti chii chakakonzeresa, because these are young children and izvi zvavachakwanisi kuenderera mberi nechikoro. It has also caused you know, like some discrimination or some form of kunyadzisa mhuri kumba nekwavanobva and stuff. Saka ndiri kuti inini daipa pakawanikwa imwe nzira before vapiwa exposure kana kuti vakataurwa navo vochidzingwa but vataurwa navo. But right now I don't think the school took my measures a bit and reach out to anyone on but demand reduction. Because this is where they were supposed to be taught. Could do different because they're so young. I was supposed to get stage here, they taught around now, which is the harm reduction, which is 18 shukwira. Our one by no demand, which is that different and the Pochakura. Zvinenge zvakuchinetsa kusiya kumberi uko plus zvinenge ane macomplications akati wandei mulife nemumwiri mako. You never know what you catch. One high can lead to a bad decision for life. Saka ndikuti ni vana ava dango akagarwa pasi. Even now it's not too late to reach out to them nemhuri dzavo, because right now we don't know the kind of, I would say, abuse or kuoneserwa kwavakaitwa vane vavo kudzimba, because vabvoka muparenta ane frustration kuti mwana wake adzingwa amunyadziswa anotariswa sei nevavakidzanyi. So I advise kuti dai paine vanoitawo reach out vavakansele semhuri. Kune like I think mental institutes ana Ngucheni and Harare Hospital, they also have facilities, group counseling, and this is not putting one mentally ill. This actually just helps Pagubatira in substance use, drug use and illicit substance use, and it all remains the cognitive, like behavioral, like change therapy. It's also used to harm reduction, but could demand reduction, nevana ava inoshanda. Saka dai zvachitwa kunzi vataurwe navo nevabereki vavo nematicha echikoro kuti kana zvinzopiwe second chance wo nemawarning maybe zvibatsire. But
thank you. Tanya, I'll come back to you shortly. For those just joining us, this is Live Talk, The Connection, and we are coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington. Tonight, we are talking about drug abuse among youths. We are streaming live on our Facebook pages, VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, as well as VOA Ndebele. We are also live on YouTube, VOA Zimbabwe. Councillor Moyo ngize kuwe. Udaba lokuxotsha kwabantwana besikolo kuthiwa banatha utshwala babhema imbanje basebenzisa okudakayo, it's not the first time. Kodwa ukuxotsha kwabantwana be-Dominican lokhu okwenzakale last week kwenzakale ngesikhathi udaba lokusetshenziswa kwesidakamizwa ngabasakhulayo lusegudwini esingathi ku-attracte i-attention abantu abaningi baqalisa uku-introspecta. Besithi alright, ingakabuyi khonapho ngabuza umbuzo othi ngithathe umlaleli engakaqumi ucingo longaqumi njalo last time. Mlaleli Mtereri nokamshira muchirongwa
komantungamili
indivani ava
ndi Donald Mamboma.
Mgoma Doni muri boyere
inofara mgoma wangu makasimba here.
Aiwa takasimba stereki mainzwa nyatri kukurukura nezvanyaya yekushandiswa kwezvinodhaka nevechidiki muri kuionawo sei?
Nyaya iyi mukoma inyaya inoshungurudza inorwadza zvisingamboiti kuti nyika yatoparara vanhu vakatarisawo here. Asi ndinoona sokuti zvinhu zvinongobva pakuti nyika haina mabasa kana kuti haina punduso. Hapana chatiri kuona productive iri munyika kana kuti production. Saka zvinoguma zvava kungopa vana vechidiki mukana wezvinhu zvakashata kudai sekushandiswa kwezvinodhaka mutoriyo yei. Nokuti vamwe vanenge vatokona chikoro mukazitarisa ipapo pane vanosvika ivava vazhinji vacho vanhu vanenge vachidzokera vachivanda zvikoro kana vanenge vadzingwa nenyaya yekuti vashayiwa mari yechikoro vototsvaka imwe option inenge iripo hakuna basa kana kuti chavangawana chingamuka panguva iyoyo. Kare kambovawo nemabasa ekuti chero chikoro ukagumira munjira unokwanisa kuona kuti bata apo ukaunganidza wakamari. Manje iko zvino nebasa racho kwekusina, saka munhu anongoguma kuzonanga mune zvinhu zvakashata kudai asi hatizvikurudziri. Asi ndoona sekungoti pamwe zvinokonzerwa nokuti nyika ava haina mabasa. Nyika haina chokuita sekuti vana vechidiki vangaita chimwe kune vaya vanenge vasiri kuenda kuchikoro kana vasiri kuendera mberi nechikoro. Pane pasina imwe alternative kana option inenge iripo. vana vozongoona sekutoti ndinotova ingavaraidza kana kuti zvingabvisa stress kana kuti kufunga kwavanenge vachiita kufungisisa kwavanenge vanako.
Aiwa,
zvinodhaka.
Thank you. Tinotenda mukoma Doni nekupinda muchirongwa.
Aiwa, ndinotenda chaizvo mukoma Ntungamili. Mwanengo yakanaka muri satatenda gumbo ikoko.
Tichamukwazisa tatenda. Thank you very much. That's mukoma Donald Mambo Malapo ekhuluma. Ese South Africa. Ngize kuwe Councillor Moyo bengisakhuluma lapha ngisithi kule reality check nje abantwana bahlala bexoshwe ezikolo ngenxa yosebenzisa isidakamizwa but okunengi akungeni kuma headlines ngendlela ukuxoshwa kwabantwana beDominican okungene ngayo last week. Abazali, abantwana, isociety yonke ingabambisana njani ukuze kwenqatshelwe ukuxoshwa kwabantwana ezikolo ngenxa yesidakamizwa leso? Councillor Moyo. Hello, Councillor Moyo. Angazi uhambe njani lapho kubaba uMoyo uCouncillor weMganwini koBulawayo andi uye kwa Muri emzware Tania Marunga ngize kwe mhlawumbe ungathatha lo mbuzo Tania ukuze kuvikelwe kwenqatshelwe isituation yokuthi abantwana bayaphuza bese isikolo begcine sebexoshwa ngabe njengabe Dominican kungenziwani?
I think kana community anti ikaita zvokubatana nema-teacher, ma-parents acho, nevamwe ma-policy makers, even healthcare workers, kana pakaitwa zvima-interventions zvokuti, we have programs in schools where children are taught and
Tanya, ngicela ubamba umlomo futhi sorry kulama callers amaningi namhlanje. Thatha umlaleli Tereri, good evening, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Hayi siyaphila tinotenda mapina muchirongwa taura henyu.
Aiwa ndakida kutaura pamusoro pema-drugs ari kuitika kuZimbabwe.
Itaigaga nguva dzafamba.
Recently ndakaona on imwe clip 12 kuBulawayo vana 12 they were admitted because of these drugs, of which means our generation is dying quick over these drugs. Vana Kristo, vana Mento, vana izombanje nengoma youth iri kufa zvisingaiti mukuru wangu, iri kufa to the extent yekuti hatisi kuziva kuti which is which and what's the next thing yatingaita kana next step yatingaita kuti tidzivirire ma-youth ari kupera nema-drugs.
Aiwa, tinotenda mukoma nekupinda muchirongwa. Zita ndiani?
Precise Moyo.
Matibata muri kupi?
Zipa South Africa.
Aiwa, tinotenda vaMoyo.
Tinotenda.
Uyakhuluma lapho umlaleli ukhuluma ngama-headlines ake aphuma koBulawayo kuthiwa kulabantwana babangu 17 or so okuthiwa badmithwe engutsheni ngenxa yosebenzisa isidakamizwa. Kodwa sibone amapolisa last week ekuhlelo lokutshengisela labazali labantwana besola izidakamizwa akulandula amapolisa ukuthi kulento enjalo enzakeleyo lanxa nje evumela amapolisa ukuthi hayi udaba lwezidakamizwa luyahlupha koBulawayo. And I'm sorry we have to leave it there. That brings us to the end of our show. We would like to thank our guests tonight, Councillor Mpumelelo Moyo, CCC member, and Councillor for Mganwini, as well as Tanya Marunga, director of the organization Zimbabwe People Who Use Drugs. Kwanele Zulukandaba olivalelisayo Ntungamili Nkomo.